Factor the polynomial, use the factored form to find the zeros, and then sketch the graph. All right, so if I factor this, I can actually factor by grouping. So I ask myself, okay, what comes out of those two? Well, it looks like an x cubed comes out of both of those. I'm left with an x minus 2. And then what comes out of these two is a negative 8. So I end up getting negative 8 x minus 2, because I factored out the negative. And then I'm left with x minus 2, and then x cubed minus 8. And if you look right here, this is a difference of cubes. And if you remember, difference of cubes, so in other words, a cubed minus b cubed, will factor out to be a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. And that should just be memorized. So right here, I can make a be x and b be 2 because the cube root of 8 is 2. Then this can factor out to be x minus 2. And then x cubed minus 8 is going to factor out to be x minus 2, x squared plus 2x plus 2 squared, which is 4. Now I can rewrite this as x minus 2 squared, x squared plus 2x plus 4. Now I'm going to bring this up here. Now the question is, does this factor anymore? Well, two things that multiply to 4 but add to 2, I'm never going to find anything, so it doesn't factor. So the question is, does it have any zeros? Now remember, if I want any zeros, I set p equal to 0. X minus 2 squared, and then x squared plus 2x plus 4. So that means that either this needs to be 0, and we know that's going to be 2 with a multiplicity of 2. But the question is, does this have any zeros? So x squared plus 2x plus 4 equals 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, if you notice right here, that's going to end up being negative, and we'll have the square root of a negative number, which means it's going to be imaginary. And on a real number plane, we cannot graph imaginary numbers. So this right here will not have any zeros. The only zeros we're going to have is going to be at 2. So let's graph it now. So I know that the only 0 is going to be at 2. I also probably want to know my y-intercept. So y-intercept is going to be setting this equal to 0. So if I set this equal to 0, this 0, this 0, you end up just getting 16, which means it's going to hit right up here. And also I know that it is a degree 4 polynomial, so it's either going to go up this way or it's going to go down this way. But if you notice, this right here is positive, so it's going to be these guys right here. So it's going to start at positive infinity, go through this point, come down here, and it's going to bounce off here. The reason I know it's going to bounce is because of this right here. It's going to be a multiplicity of 2. So at 2, it's going to bounce, and then it's going to come right back up and go off to infinity.